Welcome to another amazing studios session. Subscribe to the Postal Blue Podcast on all streaming platforms and check out Amazing Studios on YouTube for video content. Also follow the Postal Blue Podcast community on X, formerly known as Twitter. We appreciate all the support we're getting and thanks for listening.
What up? This is your boy, LA Styles, aka Ice, along with another episode of the Postal Blue Podcast with the co-host, the one and only Black Knight, aka Coffee. This is episode 3. Episode 3 called File A Grievance. Right? File A Grievance. On this episode in particular, we will be discussing the quote-unquote term File A Grievance that we like to hear a lot. Well, we don't like to hear it, but that we hear a lot, along with the current, what seems to be the current grievance process. We will discuss what the grievance process is supposed to be. Right, we're gonna discuss what it currently is. Again, we are both under NALC branch 2. That's very important, right? Because although, let's say on the carrier side, we all are under the NALC, there are minor differences in each other's contracts. So the things we'll be discussing, in particular, might go to you, and it might not. Right, your people might be following, I should say, the proper grievance process. Some there's not. So again, it shows for everybody, but you can take some from it here and there. You know what I'm saying? Again, this is for everybody to know what their brothers and sisters are going through, not only maybe in their district, outside their district, or in other cities or states, right? Because we still got to all come together. When somebody's getting fair treatment, there's a lot of other people that's getting treated unfairly. Right. So again, this episode, File A Grievance, we are discussing the current grievance process, what it is in its current state, adjustments we think probably should be in it, and just basic conversation about the post office in general. You'll hear banter back and forth. Right. Again, this is another episode of the Postal Blue Podcast, episode 3, called File A Grievance. What's going on, Coffee? How you feeling, man?
I'm good, man. You know what I'm saying? Anytime we're talking about something that's going to make us a better company, better people, a stronger branch, a stronger community, I'm always happy, man. You know what I'm saying? Sitting down with boy Alex Styles, it's always a good time. And we hopefully, like you said, we speak on some things that can help speed up the process or show you how the process should be going. And if you find some anything that's not going on the way it should be, you can talk to your steward. And just to say this is not to bash the steward or the branch, your branch that you're out of. Everybody don't have the same knowledge base. So understand that. In certain things, a lot of different MOUs out there why certain things are not being done in certain states and in certain branches. So there's a lot of different things that could be happening. So I don't want anybody to think that we're trying to bash any steward, any person, because I want to make sure this is on the record. Being a steward, being any position in the union is a thankless job. It's very low pay, a lot of hours, a lot of people only coming to you when they are in need. So they're just like a pastor and a doctor. When you don't need them, you're not thinking about it. When you need them to be right on time. So this is not to bash anybody. This is to encourage you, to give you more knowledge, and also generate a fire underneath you to be someone who can help the union and help your union sisters and internally help the company that we all are, employed by. So hopefully today's show, show number 3, kick it off, throw your 3s up for AI, throw your 3s up for Postal Blue, and sit back, get your popcorn ready. It's gonna be a great show.
Yeah. Again, y'all make sure to get on Coffee in the comments. This is his he was MIA for 2 shows. Right, so we finally found him. You know what I'm saying? He was a POW. Management was holding him hostage. He came back with unacceptable documentation.
True.
You know what I'm saying? With that's a different episode though. Unacceptable documentation. We're going to talk about that. Hey, listen. Listen, management. Now again, this not to bash anybody on the union side. Me, from my perspective, not on the union side in no way, shape, or form, or the company side, no way, shape, or form. This is about, because it's still a union. By union, I mean we're supposed to still come together for the betterment of the company as a whole anyway. So when we talk about things, it's not necessarily to talk down on nobody, but this is based on our both personal experiences. So we can't talk about it, right? Now, if things been done wrong, that's why we talk about things that's been done wrong, but we also talk about things that's been done right and how we can get in a better place as a company or as a union, meaning not just the NALC or APWU, but the union of management and craft, right? That's what we're talking about here. So for a period of time, we're gonna use a lot of terms for the title of our shows based on stuff coming up. You know what I'm saying? Dude, that's why this is File A Grievance. You know what I'm saying? I will say do it and File A Grievance, but it's a long title. You know what I'm saying? That's the subtitle though. And then on one of these upcoming shows, we definitely gonna have to do. We're gonna have Article 3. We're gonna have some everything, man. So, and we're gonna try to base the topic of that majority of that show based on that topic. We just gonna go off topic from here to there to make it connect. You know what I'm saying? But we're gonna try to stay on those particular topics so you can go and better find information, right? That's why this is File A Grievance. So anything on following the grievance and what's wrong and what's right, you should be able to come to this episode right here, listen to this episode, and get all the knowledge you need. On the next one, not necessarily saying the next one, but the right to manage, right? That's gonna be the whole breakdown on that process, what they saying, how they saying it, why they saying it, whatever the case is, so you can go get that knowledge. So some of these episodes is gonna be for you guys to best get that knowledge. We don't want to dilute a lot of things. Now, there will be shows that incorporate some of everything, just regular conversation where we just talk about the postal service or our postal service experience in general, right? But if you need help or assistance, you can look for those direct shows, or you can start asking people in the comments. Again, we got a Postal Blue Podcast community on Twitter, currently known as X. You can go over there, and when you got those questions or those situations, somebody will direct you. Hey man, you need to go listen to episode 3, File A Grievance. They'll give you the whole process. If you a steward, you give you the whole rundown. Right to manage. Why they keep using right to manage? What is that? Hey, they got an episode called that where they go through that whole thing. You go get that knowledge. You can listen to the other shows for other things. Go to that episode if you just want the basics of what that situation is. Right? So we want to do that for y'all. With that, again, this is episode 3. File A Grievance. Go ahead, Coffee.
Also, we're gonna put a TikTok page together, because I think my TikTok community would support this content, and this is gonna be beneficial for you because with grievance, sometimes you can stop it from getting rolled up or happen to grieve just by having the knowledge. Because some supervisors are new, some supervisors wasn't taught the right way. So when we say grievance, we don't feel like every time it has to be a fight. Sometimes a supervisor just don't know. Sometimes a craft employee just don't understand his or her rights. So by understanding what goes into a grievance, also can stop you from having to grieve something, or for you having to grieve discipline, for a situation. So that's important to know as well.
Correct. And you'll get more details than that when I think the episode, I'm going to tell you what episode is going to be too, Coffee. I'm going to tell you what episode is going to be. Whatever episode is going to be failure to follow, because we got one failure to follow, is going to give you the breakdown of what Coffee just said. Also, like, not everything is File A Grievance. You can't tell me everything. We're going to get there, though. You know what I'm saying? Just like not everything is failure to follow. That's not true. That's not real. That's not real. You know what I'm saying? That's not a real thing. Real. Hey, we just got to see each other in the office or whatever the case is. It ain't fair to follow, bro. But
some stuff it's gonna be what it's gonna be. I want y'all to understand it. What you're going to get is true. This is really how we feel. I don't want anybody to see like, oh, this is the act. Like this is true to who our nature is. We're not gonna agree on everything. We ain't gonna BS you. We're gonna tell you what we feel, what we know, and what we know is more contractable than anything. I'll tell you, don't do what I do. When I say that, don't do it. Because I'm just doing it because I, little bad little Black Knight want to come out and he want to play. But for the most part, we're telling you things that's going to, you know what I'm saying, make your career long and make sure that you're getting all the benefits that you should get out of as a federal postal employee.
Also to make you aware of when you being played or lied to. This is why this stuff is important, because a lot of people, let's just say for the instructions purposes, get off side topic, but again, this is what the show is for. A lot of things that people tell you, hey man, if you don't do this, that's failure to follow. You got to know what's failure to follow and what's not. Not all instructions are proper instructions. Meaning technically you don't have to follow because you can't tell me to do that. You get what I'm saying? So it's not a failure to follow. That's cool. Then they'll back up a failure to follow if you don't listen with when you say or point out something wrong or something don't add up with, well, management got the right to manage. You know what I'm saying? What does that mean? But look, I'm gonna get into that part a little bit later. So just know that, you know what I'm saying? Everything. Go ahead, Coffee.
I got one thing. Whatever show y'all have, go make sure I go to X, formerly known Twitter, and you know what I'm saying, let us know the show that you heard first. If it's 1, 2, 3, or 4, let us know what show you heard first, so we can make sure that, you know what I'm saying, we can shout you out for, you know what I'm saying, coming in. And if you're just coming in on this show, make sure you go listen to all the other shows so you can get caught up to this show.
Correct. You know what I'm saying? Again, that's on the Postal Blue Podcast. As a community on X, formerly known as Twitter. All right. We do got videos coming. I got some more. I got one thing waiting to put in the studio, and then me and Coffee will both be in house studios on Sundays recording the show. So now you'll be getting the video with the Postal Blue Podcast coming up, and then the Iced Coffee show coming up. I got to get some type of postal, not flyers, pictures. For the back, for the wall, you know what I'm saying? I take the turtles down, I can put up, you know what I'm saying, what you call it back there. So it don't look the same for every type of show, you know what I'm saying? So that's that. So, but again, welcome to the third episode of the Postal Blue Podcast, also known as File A Grievance. All right, y'all make sure to check us out on all streaming platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, whatever you want to catch us at, we there. Should be there by this week. Make sure you check out Iced Coffee. Right? That's spelled Coffey. That's the podcast. Make sure you subscribe to Iced Coffee. Make sure you subscribe or follow Postal Blue Podcast. Make sure you share this to anybody that's working in the post office. Hey, you know what you can do? If anybody have an issue with certain things, because we also got one coming up for customer service, right?
Yes.
And we got one that we're gonna be discussing distribution. We got one we're gonna be discussing informed delivery. You know what I'm saying? You make sure to let your customer know on those shows, like, hey man, here go this link to you. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So you can understand what we mean by we don't know what's coming. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what that is or what you showing me or whatever the case is. So this not only is for us, the employees, but also customers, and to make the nation aware between the employees and the customers on the current status of the postal system that's not working, when they feel like everything should be working like it's a perfect organization, and it's far from it. Right? That's the main basis for this show being created. Right? And I got about almost 5 years under my belt currently with all types of stuff. Coffee has about 6 or 7 possibly. Right, probably more like 7 then, because he got converted when I came in, pretty much. Right. So again, man, what's been going on this week, man?
Man, you know, this week it's been a hectic week. I've been sick, so forgive me for my voice sounding a little crazy. But it was a great week, you know what I'm saying? Always, dealing with a lot of postal things that's normal. It's gonna become normalized, you know what I'm saying? Get harassed early in the morning about your leave time. Get harassed about what time your street time. So, you know, just the norm. You know what I'm saying? Trying to get everybody to understand what's contractable and what we can do to get away from being harassed every day. You know, like I always tell people, you know, Rome wasn't built overnight. You just start walking after you know what I'm saying, came to this world. So everything is a process. Trust the process. Understand what rights you have, and listen to Postal Blue Podcast, where you can get more great information to be able to help out your management staff. All management is not bad. I want to say that. I want to repeat that, and I want to shout it from the mountaintop. All management are not bad. It's just managers and supervisors who haven't been taught the contract. So that's our job as well. Unfortunately, we have to teach them things they should and should not be doing. And if they don't, this is what this show is called, Grieve. We learn how to file a grievance and how to get to that point to doing it. You got to understand the grievance is basically a complaint. It's a complaint that either your employer have, which is the post office, or which you have as the worker of the craft. So you have to understand when you're filing a grievance, you got to have a way of showing that they did something wrong to you. It can't just be, oh, I feel like this person is doing this. Why do you feel that way? Has to be backed up with some type of document. If, let's just say, if a supervisor or a manager, use profanity, you're going to need a witness to back up what that was. And if you do have that, that's a great thing to have, because at that point in time, now that grievance can get filed in the way it needs to get filed. So you need a written complaint. The second thing that's going to be done is going to be investigation on the complaint. That's even if that's one against you. I just want to add this, and it's the truth. If management hear this, they know I'm not lying. They investigate stuff. It absolutely it doesn't mean it, but they don't investigate. You're guilty when one of them say it. Stewards, they do a better investigation. And, you know what I'm saying? And then you have you sit down, you conversate about things, and then hopefully you can come to a resolution. But the biggest thing to me in a grievance is communication. A lot of grievance would not be filed, and a lot of managers shouldn't be filing bogus, discipline against you if they had better communication skills. And listen, we have to, when communication literally means listen. I don't know where we went wrong with that, LA, where people don't understand. When a person is communicating, listen to what they're saying. Don't listen to respond. Listen to learn. Listen to, enhance, whatever skill set they're trying to give you, and then respond. A lot of management hear you say something, they're upset that they feel like you're more knowledgeable than them. They're not going to listen. Well, carriers, you're wrong. Clerks, you're wrong. Craft employees, you're wrong. If they tell you something correctly and it's correct, just abide by the rules and regulations. Y'all have a job. So communication is the greatest gift that we have that we won't be able to find ourselves in a grievance process. But nevertheless, at this point in time, it seems like we're having more and more. What you got, LA?
I would say a pretty uneventful week for me. As far as file a grievance, but it's crazy. Anytime I'm on the desk, the only grievance I ever get is probably like Article 8 that I see. But that's typically from particular instructions that I got for scheduling that caused me to get Article 8s. Outside of that, I never have any issues.
Can you explain to them what Article 8 is, just so for the listening ear they will understand what Article 8 is?
Along with us, y'all getting on coffee. Make sure y'all get on Watkins. She texted me now. You know what I'm saying? Make sure y'all get on Watkins if she missed the show.
She still can get in if she get make the show.
I think she said she's leaving Stay Fair. Shout out Stay Fair for anybody that went to Stay Fair. Y'all make sure y'all stay safe out here.
Man, please stay safe out here, man. Make sure touch with your people, man. You know what I'm saying? Safety is everything. Love is everything. This is the love show. We want everybody to have peace and heart. But yeah, can you expound on what Article 8 is for people who
Article 8 is kind of like rules of engagement for hours worked. You typically not supposed to have anyone going over 12 hours in a day or 60 hours in a work week. Easier said than done for some stations. The more full of a station you are, with the least amount of either restrictions or medical/disabled personnel that you have, you typically should be fine with 12. In general, we call them 1260s. In short, if you ever hear anyone talk about 1260s, they're talking about 12 hours in a working day and 60 hours in a working week over those hours, right? So there's a grievance if someone goes over those. But again, typically, if your station run like butter, you always got a full house or almost a full house. Your station probably never see 1260s. If you always leave at 5:30, 6:30, 5:30, well, let's just say 6:30 and under, you'll probably never run into 1260s. Should nobody be getting 12 if they only working 11 hours a day? Unless they work their 11 hours a day and they off day, then it'll be over 60, right? So I'm going to give you an example of how hard it is kind of to get a 60-hour work week, right? We all scheduled for 5 days a week. You would have to work 12 hours all 5 days to be at 60 hours. Meaning, to go over that 60, you would have had to come in on your off day. Or somehow you was running over 12s, right? Which you shouldn't be running over 12s, according to management, right? Even though we used to violate that consistently. You know what I'm saying? Back in the day.
True.
Back in the day. That's the thing, right? So they're trying to adhere to those policies, the 1260 policies. So that's how hard it is to go over 60, because you have to do 12 all 5 of your working days and come in. So that means your station had to be down a lot for you to be having those type of hours to go over 60. But it happens, right? So that's Article 8. We're pretty much talking about hours worked. All right. So so we do have those. In mines, I have that on my behalf, because I do have carriers that go over on their overtime for whatever reasons, right? I don't close, I open. So I do got people I assign 11 hours and they somehow go to 12s, but I'll be done already brought them in on their off day. So they should be at 60 on the dot, but for whatever reason, they end up going over by hour or two or whatever the case is, or they already at, let's say this is Thursday, by the end of Thursday, they already over a little bit over 52, meaning tomorrow they're guaranteed, if they come in, since they guaranteed the 8, they're going to go over 60, right? So tip on that, from what I was told, don't know how true this is because I never bothered to really look it up, right?
Money.
From what I heard, right, a long time ago when I came in, is that when the carrier comes up on the 60, that they're supposed to go home. They're supposed to bring whatever mail they got back and go home when they hit the 60, but we still obligated on the desk to pay them for that full 8 hours, which means they should be, let's say let's say it was Coffee and Coffee was going to hit 62 hours if he completed his 8-hour day. From my understanding, I'm supposed to be pulling the mail from Coffee for those 2 hours. When he hits 60, he should be leaving. And I don't know what the pay would be under, but I'm still supposed to pay him those 2 hours anyway, because he was guaranteed his 8 hours of work that day. Either way. And I think that comes from not overworking people. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was going to work 60, but you don't want to continue to work somebody over that amount, because then that's where possible safety issues can come in from. And Coffee might be too tired or too dizzy, too drowsy, just from exhaustion or whatever the case is, and then injuries and things like that can happen. Go ahead, Coffee.
I want to say, don't quote me on this, guys. I want to say, if you hit 60 hours, somehow you hit 60 hours and you bring the mail back, pay, I want to say regular pay or time and a half pay at the rest for that rest of that time to get you for that 8-hour day. If you're working, I want to say those hours are what we call V time, which would be double. So if you had 2 more hours to work after you get to, let's say you get to 60 at 1 o'clock and you're not scheduled to be off until 3 o'clock, for those 2 hours, that'll be V time for those 2 hours. And if I'm wrong, please make sure y'all go to X and get into the Postal Blue Podcast group and correct. But I want to say that was the last time I had looked that up. So let me know.
Okay. So yeah, that's what I have on my log right now. That was on the log before I got back on the desk. But being at my station in particular, I do have medically inclined personnel. So that I typically been running into that issue in my particular station. So I got a lot of routes back on the floor, even with my regular non-scheduled, or I think I only got 2 vacant routes right now. Only 2. But yeah, so that's, to me, hey, listen, if I was back in the day, 1260 was a regular occurrence, man. That was the only thing, that should have been the only thing on the log. I never even really heard of too many anything. So that's common, you know what I'm saying? I'm following old school policy. I got 1260s, I'm paying them, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. I don't know. So I feel like I'm still doing good. Just, the mail cover, everything going out, I pay these 1260s and I keep it moving. I ain't got no very distinguishing stick out things as far as like on my log. I don't have any dignity and respect. I don't have no bogus EPs. I don't have no investigations for stealing time or disallowed time or any of that type of things. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got no EOs on my name or coming on my name far as I know. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like I'm doing pretty good. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead, Coffee.
I think the most important thing for me for grievance is that it was 2 things. I would like to see a lot of more things settled at the informal level.
Oh, okay. So we're gonna start it here then. Go into the actual process of what it's supposed to be.
Okay. So the actual process,
or typically from what we know. Again, this is based on our experience in AOC branch 2.
So we're gonna go from a management side, and then we'll go from a carrier wanting to grieve.
And we'll put it around a failure to follow.
Okay. So
to give y'all an example.
So failure to follow, this would be your grievance. A supervisor asks you to you was already out on your route, and they called you and said, "Hey, you have an additional 2 hours that you have to carry." And you like, "Well, I'm already on my route." They said, "Well, you don't carry it. It's gonna be a failure to follow." You go and say, "Hey, I'm not gonna be able to carry that. I got to pick my kids up from day." Come back. You let them know, "Hey, like I told you, I got someone." So the next day you come in, the grievance process has begun. They have a complaint. They have a written complaint. They bring you in the office for a day. You and your steward go in. The written complaint they're saying you did is because you failed to follow to take mail and instructions to take that mail out to deliver. Right? At that point in time, it's supposed to be investigating why you didn't take that mail. Then that's usually take one. They come back and, you know what I'm saying, they don't have to bring a steward when they give you your discipline. They give you the discipline and say, "Well, hey, where you failure to follow, we're going for a 7-day suspension." They give you that. You're supposed to give it to your steward. You have 14 days after giving that failure to follow grievance to you. They get that to you. You pass it to your steward. Your steward puts it on the log within the 14 days, which stops the clock and gives the steward time to work on that. At that point in time, he meets with the supervisor and try to discuss and try to litigate that situation. At that point in time, that particular case could be gone and thrown out with an understanding. Next time, let's try to do it in a timely manner. In the morning, next time, ask the carrier, can he or can she do some more time? Sometimes that can be done, sometimes that can be done. Like I told you earlier, communication is the key. Let's say that person don't want to do it. At that point in time, the steward get his information together Supposedly management get theirs together, they send it up to the next level, which should only take 7 days. Your 14 days with your house chief steward should take 7 days with some formal level. If that's not, then send it on up. Should take another 7 days then. Send it on up to arbitration if they don't feel like they're coming to an understanding. But it should take less than 30 days to move that all the way up. Yeah, did I hit everything that you were looking for, LA?
Yep. All right, now you can go into what you was going to say before. We talked about the grievance process.
So the grievance process is supposed to be a way to communicate issues that we have that we don't understand that we have.
And get them addressed.
Get them addressed. So let's say I feel that management is giving out overtime incorrectly, right? And I'm just trying to figure out, do I do not understand the way it's supposed to be given out, or management don't understand the way it should be given out. If they don't want to listen, it's a grievance. We put it up and we grieve it. We figure out the correct way. Now we all know the correct way, and we should abide by the way the contract tells us to abide by. A lot of times, the reason why it's so many grievances is so many people have opinion. It's in black and white. We shouldn't have an opinion on how it's done. It's literally in black and white. If we have an opinion about this, that's a problem. It's too easy. Like, I remember watching Any Given Sunday. The great Jim Brown had a line he said on there, "We made it dumb enough for you to be able to do it. The contract makes it dumb enough that we can read it, legible enough for us to read it, and we still mess it up." Both sides. I'm not going to just put this on one side. This is both sides who sometimes we're fighting the wrong fight. Sometimes craft employees are wrong. Not that often, but we are. So a grievance is so we can get on one accord and understand the rules and regulations. What you got, like?
Yeah. So the grievance process is a way to address that there's a problem and come to what the proper solution is of that problem and get that problem addressed. Now, for some reason, we are leaving the table with disagreements on what the solution should be, which I don't understand, right? Mm-hmm. Because if we both come in with the same understanding on what the actual process is that's in black and white, then I don't see how we leaving the table with disagreements on what the outcome should be. You know what I'm saying? So, example of that is that failure to follow, right? Let's say it's the person's first time failure to follow, right? So maybe they didn't understand what it was or whatever the case is. Okay, cool. From my understanding, once we go in here and we do this, you can do a verbal warning, just a warning or whatever the case is, going off with the individual and the steward, and there's an understanding that this is a person's first time with the failure to follow, and maybe they didn't understand, which should come out in the questioning of the situation, which is the investigator interview, and it comes out that they didn't know that was a failure to follow. Then it's from my understanding that me and the steward should both be leaving the table with saying, okay, we'll give him the information so he'll know what a failure to follow is, and then we'll leave the table with a verbal warning, right? I'm not seeing how we get to the point where the steward will say, okay, so let's set a verbal warning. Because maybe for whatever reason, we didn't have an understanding on what you was going for discipline when we walked in here. Cool. I'm under the impression, or let's say if I'm on the steward side, that it's going to be a verbal warning or a warning, written warning, however they want to do the warning. But Leonard say, nah, I want no warning. I want a 7-day suspension. I want a 7-day suspension. Man, I can't agree on the 7-day suspension. But send it up. You know what I'm saying? I'm not understanding how we keep getting to this fork in the road when we both know what it should be. You know what I'm saying? If that makes sense.
No, that completely makes sense.
Or like if that same situation happened with that same person and now we up to a job discussion, but then it happened again. So let's say let's say you could go for another job discussion or whatever the case is. But let's just say we get to the point where it should be possibly a 7-day, possibly, right? I'm still going to argue my case on the steward side, but it's a possible 7-day because we've been in here like 2 or 3 times for the same situation, right? And then you say, nah, I don't want a 7-day. I want to go for removal. But we know that you probably should be going for a 7-day, whether I'm a fighter or not. So I'm trying to see how you even get to the removal, though. And now we leave the table with somebody saying, well, send it up. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I don't know how we keep getting this fork in the road, man, where things are not getting settled when we know what it should be settled for. You get what I'm saying? If that makes sense, or around what it should be settled for. This is part of the issue, the big issue that we haven't, and then why things don't get settled or don't get fixed, because nobody can even agree on the solution, even though we both know kind of sort of what the solution should be in this particular case, right?
Correct.
Now we are going to get to things where we both know what it should be on, and then the union might back out and say, I can't agree with it, and then we gonna send it up. But as far as goes, where it's both sides to some extent. Seems more management side, but it is on both sides. Go ahead, Coffee. You gonna add something? I'm gonna read this message real quick.
Yes. When LA was saying how we get to that point, it's because nobody's teaching management the steps that it takes, right? So when you go in, attendance shouldn't matter in failure to follow. So a lot of supervisors been taught, okay, well, he has a letter of warning for attendance, so that the next step to be progressive is to go to a 7-day. That's not true. They're under different articles for a reason. The correct way to do it would be whatever is under Article 3, what is under Article 5, whatever article that you're using to discipline this carrier with, it should be separate. So if he got a letter of warning for every article, then you're doing your job the right way. So when you come in that meeting and say, hey, Stuart Coffey, he already has a letter of warning before this, you know what I'm saying, failure to follow. I could go straight for a notice of, like what we call an NOR, for simple form. I'll just say that it's a notice of removal. It's one of the things that they could do, but they're going base it on progressive. So the next step is a 7-day. Because we did a job discussion, because he said he will, because the contract, so you got to be willfully knowing that you're breaking the contract. He said he didn't understand it. We had a job discussion. This happened again. We sat down with him and let him understood that, hey, this is an official job discussion on what your job duties are and what you should be doing and your conduct in here. This don't happen again. Now we had a 7-day, because now you showing me that you want to do what you want to do. Because that's how it should be done. But that's that all of a sudden next week he get an attendance. We back at a job discussion. It shouldn't be, oh, we're going to go right here. And a lot of times they're not understanding that. That is the reason why they be like, we'll send it up. And then you set it up and then you don't get anything. And then the first thing they say is, oh, it's the union. The union's saving it. I just want to say this to all management people. Is it not the union job to make sure that you don't do wrong? Is that not what their job is? It's to hold you responsible to do your job. So please stop telling us that the union doing a great job, because I knew that when I didn't get done. You ain't got to say that. Just say, hey, I misplayed my hand. What you got, LA?
Yeah, so the file a grievance process is either severely outdated
Yes.
or we've just gotten away from the black and white, and probably has been away from it for so long that we probably, you know how you get off track a little bit, and the further you get down road, you get more and more off track. If for people that understand, probably like bullet trajectory, that makes sense, right? If you're looking at something and you might feel like, man, I'm only like a centimeter off. Okay, by the time that bullet get 50 feet away, it's gonna be way off. It's gonna be way off, man. You ain't even on target. You know what I'm saying? At all. You like, man, I missed that. I was only to the because but if it's in traveling, that centimeter got wider and wider as it went down range. So I think at some point in time we got a little bit away from where we should be, and now these years later we just far away from the actual target for what the process actually is. And it also one of the biggest issues is it doesn't work, and we try to use it in benefits where it seems extremely one-sided. But this is where it messes up, because now you can argue things like harassment, right? Because you keep coming to me for the same thing. Now, mind you, let's get a clear understanding. A lot of these things that's filed or goes up incorrectly comes back down, right? When this carrier, we're gonna call Adam. When Adam got his letter of warning, right? Then Adam had messed up attendance, right? He got too many occurrences. Then you went up to a job discussion somehow. Cool, not cool, but cool. I'm pretty sure y'all didn't agree on that, and it was sent up, right? Then the next thing, it was you felt like Adam was doing something unsafe, and then you went for a 7-day. Right? Now, them 3 different cases I just gave you. Them 3 different things. Right? But somehow we had a 7-day. At this point, I can actually start arguing or start building my case that you harassing me. Why? Because at some point in time, all 3 of these cases are going to come down. And you're going to keep on coming to me with these same things. And they're not going nowhere. The problem is they're not going nowhere. Now, let's get an understanding. Management can manage. Make that clear. They can give you instructions.
Yeah.
They can talk to performers or attempt to talk to performers, depending on what type of performance we're talking about. That is, right? So that's too wide of a range of a subject to cover right now, right? We're at the 42-minute mark. But they can manage you. There's their job. Supervisors can't supervise. There's their job. My job is to make sure that Coffee is doing what he's supposed to do. My job is to make sure that Coffee is driving safety, and my job is to make sure that his license is up to date. My job is to make sure that he's being safe on the streets and not feeding dogs, and that he's checking the fences when he's going in. That's not me looking to write up Coffee for anything. My job is to make sure that the people under me are doing their job to the best of their abilities and being safe doing so. And safety is always first priority, right? That's not necessarily somebody picking on you. Know the difference. Everything is not harassment, people. Everything is not hostile work environment. Also remember that you can be on the opposite side of hostile work environment. You can be at work yelling, screaming, mad at management for giving you instructions. Now you creating a hostile work environment. Remember that when you're doing the things that you be doing, right? But in general, the process doesn't work. And to do it and file a grievance, it's like some of the dumbest things. The dumbest, I quote it. The dumbest quote that I've heard, one of the top 2 since I've been working at the post office, is do it and file a grievance. Now, I can't find that nowhere. In that actual wording. Might say something different, but do it, file a grievance. If it is somewhere, which it might be in a different wording, I need to read the very details of that. Because somehow management feel like they can tell you to do anything, and if you don't do it, they got a problem with it, right? And then they say, well, Leonard, do a backflip off it, man. I'm not doing a backflip off there. Hey, man, you got to do the backflip, man. Doing the backflip is a safety issue. Okay, so do the backflip and then file a grievance. You know what I'm saying? That don't make sense. You know what I'm saying? Do the backflip, but then you got to file a grievance that I endangered your safety. That don't make sense. Right? Management likes to play that card, and I'm not sure with the send it up. I'm not getting what the sending it up is doing on either side. I'm not even sure at our level that we have information on what is the outcome of all this sending it up. What is happening? Because I've heard a lot of things coming back down when you send it up. So if it's gonna come back down, if there's a 85% chance that it's coming back down, 90% chance that it's coming back down, then what are we sending it up for, or what are we sending it up to? Now I get there are stipulations on if they're not willing to meet, if they're not willing to settle, send it up, right? That's kind of protocol. But what is it doing when they get up there? If it's not working, because a lot of stuff been coming back down, it's not getting settled, it's arbitration backed up or something. Like I'm not understanding, because I'm not hearing a lot of these solutions for things that's being sent up. So I don't think that process is working when we talk about filing a grievance, because currently in this form, again, we under NALC branch 2, a lot of things is being sent up, but I'm not seeing no results from it. Go ahead, Coffee.
The thing of it is, the reason why they're sending it up, because they're hoping. So the system is not made to have 400 grievances, right? Nobody should be at this point habitually breaking the rules and regulations at this regular situation, right? Nobody.
Go into that, Coffee. That's what we was talking about earlier.
What?
So let me clarify that part. The grievance is somebody broke the contract, right?
Right.
Let's sit down, talk about it. Once we talk about it and address it, once we go over the black and white and it says this was wrong, technically we shouldn't be doing that again. We shouldn't be doing it again. We addressed it. We both figure out, okay, this the problem. Okay, yeah, that should have been done differently. When we leave the table, me as an individual, you as an individual shouldn't be doing that again. Right.
Correct.
That's what the grievance process is. It's not something where you just keep breaking the same exact thing consistently or knowingly you're doing it. All right, go ahead, Coffee. That's what he mean by you shouldn't have 400 things, because technically y'all should be settling these things, and then you should be stopping these things. So you shouldn't be having all these grievances. Go ahead.
Correct. So the whole point of a grievance is to understand, communicate, and to come to a resolution. So whatever way the resolution falls in, that individual or that entity should be telling the rest of the people that's inside of those entities, this is no longer allowed to do. You shouldn't be doing this, because if you do this, they can do that. That's what should happen. So it shouldn't be 400 grievance for this for failure to follow, because you feel like, hey, you told somebody got bit by a dog, and you like, well, can you walk? Yeah, but you know what I'm saying, I'm bleeding real bad. Well, you know what I'm saying, you know, you got a shirt in your car? Yeah. Tie your shirt around and finish that split and then come back. That shouldn't be that ain't failure to follow. That's just a person who don't care about your safety. So when that happens, a grievance is to make sure that don't happen anymore. And I know somebody gonna say that's common sense, but hey, common sense ain't coming. A grievance is a way to show these things should not be happening. So if you're a person who thinking like, what is a grievance for? It's to stop people from doing certain things that the contract say they shouldn't be doing in the first place. So most people don't ever get why it happens so much. It happens so much because we can't get them to understand what they're doing is wrong. But the reason it happens so much, I want you to, I know every craft employee has this happen. Now I have a lot of manager friends, so I know this happened in the manager and the supervisor rank and manager rank. When you're not writing statements, when you see something and you don't say something, you're part of the problem.
Shout out to episode 2, statements.
You have to be able to be a co-pilot to the pilot who is writing the grievance. That's how we start communicating to management, and that's how management communicates to us. If you see somebody being done wrong, you should say something. You should be like, you don't have to take that. You can file a grievance, and I don't mind writing a statement. I'm gonna say it because I know a lot of people don't like me saying this, but I'm gonna say it. You have to get out of the slave mentality mindset. But I really just don't want them to say nothing to me. They're coming. Your time is coming. Your time is coming. So you have to understand that's not going to be me. I'm not going to sit here, watch somebody else get done wrong and be okay with it. No. If something has happened to another employee, you should say something. If you're a supervisor on the desk and somebody is mistreating, let's say the manager is mistreating the supervisor, the two supervisors should be writing statements to each other. You did a grievance for the workplace to be better. You want a better workplace? File a grievance. Be a co-pilot to somebody with a grievance. That's the best way to do it. Go ahead, Ella.
With that, that's where I was going earlier when I said I don't know if we've just gotten away from the original way of doing it, or if the original way just also doesn't work. I'm more inclined to believe that the original way works, but it's other things in the contract that negates it working. Right? This is where you get the things of Article 3. Management has the right to manage. Right? To me, in a lot of ways, goes against, or the way it's treated on management side goes against the file a grievance process. Because although in black and white it said that let's just put the wrongdoing on management side, right? Earlier we had it on the union side. It was the carrier doing something wrong. In this particular case, we're going to say that management did something wrong, right? Cool. That management, quote unquote, has the right to manage. They take that meaning they can do anything, right? Which is false. It's false. Far from being true, right? We'll get into that on another show. Or we can also talk about it on the Postal Blue Podcast community on Twitter, currently known as X. Y'all make sure to go check that out. Hey, make sure to go subscribe on YouTube to Amazing Studios, where you can catch all the podcasts from Iced Coffee to Postal Blue Podcast to Unjustified Behavior. All right. So I was saying, right to manage. So when they do that, they feel like they're not wrong. So typically when you do put paperwork on them and y'all go into the office to talk about it, they're never going to agree typically that they was wrong. So they send it up. Even though the black and white said it was wrong, they're going to say, oh, but the other black and white is, I got the right to manage. So there's almost like a big contradiction in the contract that contradicts other parts of the contract, and it don't make sense. And this is where we got to get to the point in a long term on, it seems like, to me personally, that the contract, if someone will have to look over it in depth as far as legally, outside of the post office, is that it contradicts itself so much. And last time I checked, legally, a contract had to be clear. It couldn't have vague statements in there. Management has the right to manage is a vague statement, right? And contractually, right? And I can pull this up on my phone legally. right? In a contract, nothing in the contract can be vague. That's legal. It says that legally, right? So management has the right to manage means what? Because typically what I see them use that, when I see them say that, it's because they've mismanaged something. Say management has the right to manage, right? So does that mean you can violate anything in the contract because you have the right to manage? Is that what that statement means? Because it doesn't say that in anywhere that I read that, but that's what you're using it for, right? So to me, that's a vague statement. So I'm definitely gonna have to get some senior stewards up here, some senior people in management up here, and someone's gonna have to. I ain't gonna say they have to. I want someone to explain it better to me, right? From an unbiased perspective, or you can come to a biased perspective. You know what I'm saying? We open for debates. If you're a senior steward somewhere, if you're a senior supervisor somewhere, if you're a senior manager somewhere, no matter what location you at, what city, what state, what department, even if you're in distribution, if you have some knowledge, if you want to debate somebody, if you got some type of information, you welcome to hit the show. You welcome to hit the community.
Yes.
Give us this insight. Because again, just from my understanding, now typically when I don't understand something, I just start researching stuff, right? I research stuff. And I came across the other day, 8 things, right? It says eight ways a contract can be void, right? And being vague says that if there's any term that's vague, the contract is void, right? That's what it says. In a contract, everything has to be clear so both parties understand what's what. What are we agreeing to, right? So
correct.
And I read that. You can look that up. And right to manage, or management has the right to manage. What does that mean, man? I don't know what that means. To be honest, I don't know what that means. I can tell you what I've seen it used as, right? I can't go over 12. Cool. I come back. I bring the mail back, let's say. No, Lynn, you got to take that back out. Man, that's what you say. I can't go over 12. You know what I'm saying? So I'm coming back so I can leave. Can't nobody go over 12. Well, because it's going to be agreed. Well, management got the right to manage, so you got to take that back out. And it's going to be failure to follow instructions. So now, are you telling me, going into what Coffee said earlier, right? When they like to use on the craft side, you got to be knowingly breaking the contract. Management knowingly breaks the contract a lot. Intentionally, knowingly breaks the contract, but are they held responsible for knowingly breaking the contract? Where's the discipline that comes from that? Because on my side, it says you can do progressive discipline on me if I knowingly break it. But where's the progressive discipline on you when you knowingly break it? Right? So I don't understand that, right? So the grievance process, again, to me, as a standalone thing, it makes sense, right? Or can make sense. But it's not used correctly with other things in the contract. And that's why I say it's almost like you can look at it as almost void because they use things in other parts of the contract to negate the file a grievance process, right? Let's look at this. When you file a grievance, let's say you file a grievance on management, right? Let's say that grievance comes with a monetary value. Now, unbeknownst to a lot of people, not all grievances come with a monetary value. Not every single grievance come with a monetary value. But let's just say in this grievance area, let's say it's a 1260 violation. Comes with a monetary value. When y'all settle on that pay should be hitting that person's check, or those people's checks, those carriers, clerks, whoever it is, checks in that next pay period. Now, depending on what fall in that pay period, might not make that pay period, but it should be making the next pay period then, if that, right? Cool. But then you don't get that pay, right? Come to find out, management just trying to hold off on paying you, so they're just not paying you, which also breaks the contract again. So you broke the contract to get the grievance in the first place, and then you follow that up by breaking the contract again, right? And then you would answer that. Well, we're really not having an answer, but because you can't tell me why you're not paying me, with just continually breaking the contract at that point in time, and you know that you're breaking the contract. So it's not necessarily that the grievance process doesn't work. I just think really on certain sides or at certain times, where it seems to be more management side in these particular cases, is that they're using other things in the contract to negate the file a grievance process, which makes it don't work. Right? Which is why, to me, it's things in there together that kind of makes it void, because you can't put things in there that negates other things, and then that negates other things, and that negates other things. So now you got a circle of an infinite sign that, yeah, this is supposed to be black and white, but the thing next to it can negate that. But the thing next to that can negate that. And the thing next to that can negate. So don't nothing work then. Don't nothing work. You know what I'm saying? Because you just getting out of everything that you're obligated to do by using other things. And really you just prolonging it. So the grievance process is up there. It definitely needs to be tuned. It definitely needs to be tweaked. It is not perfect in any means, but it's far from being broken. The only thing that really makes it broken is other things in the contract that's used to prolong or interfere. Let me say interfere in the grievance process. Everything shouldn't be sent up to arbitration. We should be settling. That's on both sides. Union side and management side, we should be settling. A lot of these things shouldn't even be leaving the office, people. The grievance process is short. Y'all should be in there 10 minutes, 15 minutes at the most. At the most. That's like extreme 15 minutes. Go ahead, Coffee.
Especially when, if you know, as on the management side, that you're breaking a contract, we go in there and we write the grievance up. Excuse me, everybody. You should be ready to sign and go into tax and pay it. Why do we even have to have another conversation? You ask the person to go over a non-vow to work 12 hours that day. You owe them. Pay them.
I'm going to tell you something that I heard, Coffee. Hey, I think me and Coffee done talked about this before. You know what I'm saying? So you probably going to laugh again. This is for y'all. Now, mind you, some of y'all are not experiencing these problems. A lot of you might not be experiencing these problems with being paid or with having your grievance paid out in situations like that. Again, your brothers and sisters in other places are, right? So again, the show is about just addressing issues in general that we have at the Postal in general. Our sister in Ohio, she don't got a lot of problems that we have, but she do got other problems that go on her floor. Like a lot of dignity and respect goes on over her floor. Now she's a part of it. You know what I'm saying? She definitely a repeat offender. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But and don't nothing be happening. So I don't know if she knows somebody, but Felicia definitely should be put on EP. I'm going on record and say it, y'all. Yes, and I ain't even sorry for it. My sister needed to be put on EP a long time ago. You know what I'm saying? Without pay. But that's neither here nor there. But in a lot of other places, that is the case. And you got to be mindful of that. We had an adjuster. On side note, we did have an adjuster come through recently. So I don't know if that's going through nationwide. I believe so. Going over disallowed time. This just side notes, you know what I'm saying? Because management have disallowed a lot of time and people are missing money. Now, y'all might not know what that is. We can possibly talk about that on another show. Y'all let us know in the comments on whatever you see in this on, or on YouTube, or in the Postal Blue community on Twitter /X. If y'all want to talk about what disallowed time is and where that's coming from. But they doing a large payout for disallowed time right now. But yeah, so it shouldn't take that long. Now, going into that, this is what I heard. Going to what Coffee just said. Let's say that we're going back to the 1260. This is just as an example. I've heard a manager say, I'm not paying them for violating 1260s because I didn't give them enough mail to violate 1260s.
Yeah.
I've heard that. Now, the same person didn't pull them off the street, though. Didn't tell them to come back before the 12 or before the 60. You left them out there to do the mail because the mail is the most important thing in the postal service. It's supposed to be. The mail, which incorporates the packages. So when I'm saying mail, we saying letter mail, magazines, and packages is all mail. Anything with postage on it, we consider it mail at this point in time. Cool. All mail has to be done first in, first out. It has to get done. Most important thing is the mail getting delivered and the customers being satisfied. Right? Y'all just don't know. If you are customers or residents listening, the things we have to go through behind the scenes to get your mail delivered. Right? and your carriers or clerks or material handlers or mail handlers, whatever, I forget what they call it now. I think they're mail handlers. Truck drivers be going through the most to get that stuff delivered to you guys. But the File A Grievance process to me is being utilized a lot. Shout out to everybody that's utilizing it the way it should be utilized. Again, going off what Kofi said, that should be an open and closed case. People 1260s, you should be paying 1260s. On the flip side, somebody arguing from management side, but I didn't get them enough mail, so I'm not signing off on it. So we're going to send it up. Means what? Because you're going to have to pay that at the end of the day because it happens still. So I don't even get why we arguing. Even if it goes up to arbitration, you still got to pay it. You know what I'm saying? Because they did it already. You can't take the time back. Right? Cool. So I think the grievance process works. It's just the other things in the contract that's interfering in the contract. I mean, not interfering in the contract, but in the process. With that, I don't think that there's too much more to speak on the grievance process. Again, you go in as a rundown. If you're on the craft side, there's a thing called progressive discipline. Progressive discipline is when you keep violating or breaking, let's just say use the term violating, the same thing. You keep doing the same thing, which is a violation of the contract, whether it's you doing something unsafe, whether you fail to follow, or something of that nature, or you keep having a performance issue for whatever reason. Again, performance issues varies. So let's just say failure to follow, right? Progressive discipline is I move up to the next step. Let's just say the steps are a letter of warning, right? Which could be a verbal warning. But let's just say a letter of warning. You could probably do 2 letter warnings depending on the severity, but you know what I'm saying? Typically the next step could be a job discussion, right? Maybe you could do 2 job discussions, depending on what it is. Typically, you can do 1 job discussion. Then you go up to a 7-day suspension. Then you go up to a 14-day suspension. That's 4 write-ups right there. Really 3, because you're not really writing them up on the letter of warning. But you have an official job discussion, and then you giving them a 7-day suspension, then a 14-day suspension. Then if need be or possibly, then you can do an EP depending on what the situation is, or should be doing an EP depending on what the situation is. If we talk about a failure to follow, something like that, then you don't have to that don't have to be utilized. But then after that 14-day, up there with the EP, depending on what that is a removal, a letter of removal after the 14-day. But that's given the fact that you're doing the same thing all in a row. Now, let's do 2 different examples for failure to follow. And we're going to do safety. If you do failure to follow, I bring in for a letter of warning. A week later, you have a safety issue, right? You're doing something unsafe on the street. I bring you in. I don't go to a job discussion because that's the next thing after a letter of warning. I now have to give you a letter of warning on the safety issue. You can't skip steps. These are not the same things. So it should be, as Kofi was explaining earlier, different things. If I got 4 different types of violations, I should have 4 different letter of warnings for each of those. If I'm doing progressive, then I should have 4 different job discussions for each of those. You shouldn't be jumping around and I'm gonna do a letter of warning for this. I'm gonna do a job discussion for that. I'm gonna do a 7-day for that, but they for 3 different violations. Each violation has its own progressive discipline. This is another reason why the disciplinary action not working or not sticking, because you're jumping around various disciplinary actions for things that don't coincide with each other. I just got a letter of warning for failure to follow instructions. Then I got a job discussion for doing something unsafe. Now somehow you want to go for a notice of removal on attendance. You know what I'm saying? How we get to the removal for attendance if I don't got a clear attendance issue. You know what I'm saying? You talk about something else. Now this is what Kofi was talking about earlier, where you mixing 2 different things in to apply discipline to me, and you can't do that. Disciplinary actions for the one thing. You can't try to tie 2 different things together to try to make a case. But with that, that's all I got to say about the File A Grievance process. Again, if you want to go more in depth with it, you can go to the Twitter community / the currently known as X, Postal Blue Podcast. Go over there, go to communities, Postal Blue Podcast. You can text whatever you want to text up there. Make sure you tag us in it as well. You can send your pics, your pictures of your daily life, things that you done came into in the community. You can ask questions to get answers in the same community. We will get back to doing live spaces as the community grows, so you guys can participate. Right now, we're recording on Soundtrap. So, top community members or moderators, we are looking for moderators for that community. So make sure you notate that in the community. If you message that, we'll definitely look at your history and reach out to you. But we also can invite guests through Soundtrap, and we can invite listeners so y'all can actually participate and listen to live discussions. Again, as the community grow on Twitter, we will have live spaces where everybody can be heard and we can sit and chat and whatever the case is. And then we'll just have our regular podcast on Sundays. But then through the community, you know what I'm saying, that's where a lot of the discussion throughout the week is going to be taking place. Right. And then again, through the Twitter spaces, that's really not a podcast setting, but we will get in there, chop it up. We're going to be talking live, taking calls or whatever the case. People want to put your hand up. You got a question about something, we'll talk to you, let y'all talk to each other, whatever the case is. And across the nation, we should be doing this to get an understanding. This is how on Twitter spaces is going to be our biggest reach for community togetherness, where we get together to try to stop a lot of this workplace, either harassment or hostile work environment or discrimination that's going on behind the scenes. Again, everything me and Coffee said today is our personal experience, based on our personal experience, right? None of this is to be demeaning or talk down on any one side. Again, there's issues with both sides, right? We both typically extremists, and we haven't even gotten extreme about this topic at all, because I'll tell somebody, hey man, listen, if you talking to me, man, I fail to follow something, and I'm waiting to go into the whatchamacallit because I know it don't sound right. I know it don't. I done did it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going into the office tomorrow. You remember that day they were trying to, well, you wasn't there. They were trying to get me to take out somebody else's packages. It was 4 CCAs and a regular. We came in at Western Station. We came in. We were supposed to take like 4 pumpkins each for 4 routes. One of us was taking 5. I forget who. It might have been the regular. Steel.
Oh yeah.
It was like me, Steel,
I do remember that.
Dylan, and somebody else. But it was 5 of us. You know, it's 19 routes. So somebody had 5, and everybody else had 4. Right. And then 2 people was late. We was there on time. I dipped. Boom. I got all my stuff loaded. I come back in like 3.5 hours, almost 4 hours, something like that. It's a pumpkin still there. Somebody said, "Oh, Linda, that's yours." I'm like, "What's mine?" Yeah, I need you to take that out. I was like, "Why would I take that out? That wasn't one of mine." You know what I'm saying? I took all mine with me, right? Oh, that was so and so's. He came late. I'm like, "What they got to do with me?" He still got time on his back. I done did mine. You know what I'm saying? And then they said something inappropriate. Why people don't listen? You know what I'm saying? I'm giving instructions and, you know what I'm saying, calling somebody else. Man, listen, it was a whole thing. I didn't do it. I didn't do it. You got to put me to the office, man. It went to starting to get loud. Somebody said something inappropriate. I said, you know what? I feel unsafe. I feel uncomfortable at this time. And I'm clocking out and going home and contacting my union. Right. And I did that. All types of dirt on my name the next day. Try to put me to the office for throwing vehicle keys at him. All types. I was like, man, what? Why would I throw vehicle keys at a female? Right? Mind you, when I took the keys out, because I forgot that I was on the dock, when I took the keys out of my pocket, the female supervisor was already outside. He's already on the dock. So I'm getting ready to walk through the double doors, going through the vestibule to go outside. And when I realized my vehicle on the dock, now I'd already clocked out. Mind you, y'all not supposed to work off the clock. That's a safety issue. So when I'm getting ready to go through the double doors, I open the double doors. Then I see my vehicle on the dock. Dang, I forgot my vehicle. So I go. Yep. Okay, there we go. We should be back in business. But yeah, I didn't do it the next day. You know what I'm saying? I had an investigative interview. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to put dirt on my name. You know what I'm saying? But long story short is, it was just management was trying to leave early. So since I was back, quote unquote, early or whatever the case is, they were trying to get to work to me instead of waiting on the person it belonged to. Right? They got nothing to do with me. Your job is to sit there and wait till everybody get back regardless. That's what you're being paid for. But I didn't feel like that was fair. Now, technically, right, if I didn't have that way out, that could have been a failure to follow instruction on my end, right? But I seen my way out when she said what she said, and I took it. You know what I'm saying? I don't feel safe. You know what I'm saying? That's just gonna be what it's gonna be. So that's what that was. Again, that's the grievance process in a nutshell, man. Again, it works when it works outside of the outside interference and other things that's in the contract. Can it be adjusted or tweaked? Sure. Maybe union people should be allowed to put grievances on management. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? It works when it works, but it is what it is. But that's the process in a nutshell. So if you're a steward, make sure they're doing progressive discipline. If it's not progressive, get that thrown out. That's easy peasy. And management, do progressive discipline. Stop jumping around while quote unquote progressing it, because you're not progressing it if you're jumping around trying to discipline people while you're doing progressive discipline, but for different things. Then that's not progressive discipline. You in your head is progressive because you're moving up a step, but it's gonna come back down to a letter of warning. I'm gonna go to a 14-day on this. They ain't got nothing to do with the other steps, but they're gonna get that just knocked back down to a verbal warning. So if you didn't know, that's why your stuff is getting knocked down. And again, file a grievance, EO process. Again, same thing as last time. Use your tools. Use your tools on both sides, all sides, whatever the case is. But outside of that, make sure y'all subscribe to the Postal Blue Podcast on all streaming platforms.
Yes.
On all streaming platforms. And by all, you know what I'm saying, I can name some, but all, you know what I'm saying, we on Amazon Music, YouTube Music, on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Deezer, Stitcher, Spotify Podcast, we on Pandora, iHeartRadio, whatever it is that you mean. You know what I'm saying?
Whatever you listen to.
Correct. Postal Blue Podcast. Make sure to subscribe to Iced Coffee. Make sure you listen to Unjustified Behavior. You can catch all three of those in one place on YouTube.
Yes.
Right? Go to Amazing Studios. All three podcasts right there. You know what I'm saying? We back with Red Circle as the host. Red Circle, eventually, as we grow this community, will allow us to do ads, and we will be doing things for our postal community.
Giveaways and everything.
No pay. Things like that, you know what I'm saying? As we do get into the making money aspect, which we definitely ain't there, but consistency has been part of our problem. Not with this, because we just brung this here with 5 years of experience on my end and 7 years on coffee end. Again, we both former military as well, so contractual is stuff that we know about from on the federal side. So make sure you tune in, make sure you subscribe, make sure you share to your brothers and sisters, because that's how they're gonna get that information.
Right.
Also share with your customers, because that's how they're gonna get that information, because your customers don't know the things that you might be going through. Right. And people gonna put dirt on your name while you out there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You're not delivering, people gonna make it seem like, man, dude just keep on calling in. But really, you know what I'm saying, maybe you calling in because you doing your fight. You know what I'm saying? So like your customers just think you trash because people putting dirty on the name, but you know what I'm saying? So anyway, go use your tools, man. Make sure you share this. Sharing is caring. Come get the knowledge and get into the fight, man, because we are at war. You've seen the last show. Statements.
Yes. Statements, people.
Episode 2. Statements. We are at war. Right?
Right.
So with that, those are my closing remarks. Make sure you subscribe again to Amazing Studios. This is the Postal Blue Podcast. Make sure you subscribe to everything Postal Blue.
Yes.
Right. Hit up that community. We got to grow that community. Right. And with that, man, again, y'all have a good one. Y'all be safe out there. Make sure you check this out on Monday. Listen on Monday, 9 a.m. Mondays.
9 a.m.
Listen to this when you on the street, when you sorting mail, when you distributing mail, when you doing certifies, when you doing whatever it is that you're doing, but make sure you being safe while you doing it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Monday is the heaviest day, the biggest workload. So we trying to give you some on those Mondays. It's going to entertain you for about an hour or so. You know what I'm saying? Of your time. Any closing remarks, Coffee? And then we're going to get up out of here. Shout out to our sisters' feet. Shout out to Watkins. Shout out to the NALC. Shout out NALC Branch 2. Shout out the District of Milwaukee. All right?
Closing remarks is like always, and I tell people always, I got uncles, aunties, siblings, kids, wife. We're a postal family. It's personal for this is no shot at the post office, but sometimes you got to get family business correct. I need everybody to do your job at making us a better workplace. Sometimes they're going to be filing grievance. Sometimes there's going to be right statement. Sometimes that's going to be, making sure your behavior is better. Like we said last show, statements are to help the grievance, which helps the workplace, which helps the company, which helps you have a better place to come to work to, better place to provide family, and better place for we can all have a great job. Like LA said, make sure y'all support us on all platforms. Make sure y'all get those subs up on YouTube. It helps. We want to be able to, when we on our vacation, take Postal Blues to other states that might be going through something. We want to be able to help in the fight. We're not just sitting here talking and talk. As we get more monetary value, I'm not trying to tell y'all to give us money, but as we get bigger and bigger, if it's a state or a city that's going through something, we want to bring the podcast here. We want to go to the eye. We want to be on the front lines of where change is made.
Or again, with that togetherness, you know what I'm saying? In that community, when y'all do have a fight going on, when you do have a rally going on, you know what I'm saying? You put out the data, the information, we can help other people spread the word and help other people get there for that date.
Correct.
Right? You need that support, right? We here to build that system so we all can get that support across the nation. We got the biggest workforce in history.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Besides the military, we got the biggest work. It's hundreds and hundreds and thousands of us, man.
Yes.
Yet nobody should have a rally under the APWU and there's 20 people there or 30 people there.
Never.
That's just, that don't even make sense.
Never.
That don't even make sense, man, with hundreds of thousands of people. And you might have easily, man, listen, you might have maybe 10,000 people in your own district. And you show up to a rally with 10 or 20 or 30, even 50 is absurd. 100 people is absurd if you got 2,000 workers in your district under the APWU. You know what I'm saying? And that's the other thing, again, we was talking about earlier, you know what I'm saying, in the previous podcast, is that the fight is under the APWU. It's not just under your branch of the APWU, right? So even if we NALC in the NBS or NB, I forget what the truck drivers one is called. It's NB something. Right. I think it's like NBS or BNS, whatever the case is. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure that the B, what the BS stand for, you know what I'm saying, is on the management side. You know what I'm saying? But you got the clerks and the mail handlers. If y'all got a fight, y'all having a rally, the other three should be there.
Correct.
Whoever can make it. Whoever wore blue. This is why the podcast is called Postal Blue. It's not called the Carrier podcast. It's not called the Postal Carrier Cast. It's not called the Clerk Carrier Cast. It's not called the Truck Driver Carrier Cast. The mail handler is the Postal Blue.
Emphasis on
That's
blue.
It. Correct. Everybody who wears the blue. All for one.
One for all.
Is what it is. Y'all feel uncomfortable, something going on, who doing it, what station? We there. Why are we there? Because you violated. You know what I'm saying? You violated. You violated the blue. Because one thing y'all got to realize too, a lot of stuff that's in one of our contracts is in the other contract. Like dignity and respect is probably in all of our contracts. So if they violated you, right, over the workroom floor, then they violated me over the workroom floor. So if they did something, everybody that was on the floor got violated. That means it was two crafts violated.
Thank you.
For dignity and respect. So when I went to fight for this violation of dignity and respect, y'all should have been there too, because you was there. You was witnesses, and I didn't get statements. You know what I'm saying? What's going on?
Got to be better.
So there's a divide there, and on the management side, they lean into that divide. It's not even something that they have to worry about. So with that said, we have to worry about it. We got to get better on the blue side. We got to get better. Stick together. Do your statements. Use your tools. File a grievance. Know what's a grievance or know what's not a grievance.
Right.
All right. Again, they can supervise you. They can manage you. But that is limitations on that supervision and on that management to where you cross over to harassment or hostile work environment. Know the difference. Go define harassment, hostile work environment. Those are going to be your two most constant things. Also, you can look up dignity and respect in the contract and look at the verbiage for dignity and respect as well. You know what I'm saying? So know when you being respected. Everybody, even outside the post office, should know when you being respected or disrespected.
Right.
Okay.
No.
Any closing remarks, Crawford? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Just know, Postal Blue is to help you understand how personal this thing should be for you. Make it personal for you. If they're not doing right by you, then you're not being a good mother or father for your kid. Because they're taking money out of your pocket. They're taking it out of the mouth of your kid. If you're not being a good employee for the post office, guess what? You're taking food out of your... We have to make this thing so personal that when you wake up in the morning, you say to yourself, I won't let them. I don't call you my brother and sister. I don't take those words for... I don't take them for granted. You are my brother and sister. When I left my house, my mama said one thing. You better do right by your sibling. We need to do right by each other. The change begins with one and another. I got your back, you got mine, and we continue to carry on that no matter what. We want management to be a part of this. We want us to be a team, a dream team. But if they don't want to be a part right now, then we keep pushing until everybody is on this train. If you get ran over, you get on it. And that's what this got to mean to you. Postal Blue Podcast want to be able to get the message out of there that we don't have enough. We tired and we ain't taking it. You got a rally going on? You having a problem getting that message out there? Let us know. Hit us on X. Go to YouTube. If you just drop a message down under the video, we'll see it. Next show we'll put it in there. We might do a short show just to make sure they get out with you. We want to be the voice of change. Last but not least, what side of history will you be on?
Hey, 2024 got to be a change. We're in the midst of a new contract right now, and we got to get heard, bro. Like this ain't. I mean, this contract ain't gonna last anyway. It'll probably be done. In a year and a half? They're working on another one because it only lasts like 2 or 3 years anyway. So starting this year is the year that we gotta get together and we gotta take over whatever our rights is and our representation. And if you don't feel like you're being represented correctly, then you should have an issue with that, and you should figure out how you can come up with an answer to that problem. Right? We are being represented. And we ain't even part of the representation. People making decisions for us and not even talking to us about what we want to change. That's a problem. I have a problem with that. Going into what we was talking about earlier, again, we gave you the basic information on File A Grievance, the issues with the process, which is mainly other parts of the contract, which is the issue with the process, and what possibly they need to do about the process, which is just maybe fix other things or tune out other things in the contract, or just get to the regular what's black and white and live right. You know what I'm saying? Other than that, man, I ain't got too much more to say. Again, we gonna go more in depth. This is just to point out certain things leading up into the regular podcast where we gonna be discussing some of everything just on a week. So maybe in like a month or so when we get these basic ones out, again, we setting the ground level. Right. This is why these early podcasts are named the way they're named. This is why you got the foundation, which sets you to what we at today. This is why you got statements. This is why you have File A Grievance. You're going to also have right to manage. You're going to also have failure to follow. These initial podcasts is to set the foundation for when we start going off in about 4 weeks' time. And you hear this show, and it's going to be about whatever it's going to be about on those shows, you'll know what we're talking about. You can always go to these early podcasts and what is Leonard talking about when he's so-and-so? He said this, he said that. I don't get it. He said he failed to follow. Ain't he wrong? Go back and listen to the failure to follow episode, and then he'll tell you. You know what I'm saying? Go back and listen to this. This set the foundation on this is where we at, though. You know what I'm saying? A lot of things is what it is, but again, at war, when you blur the lines and live in a gray area, somebody can't tell me what's wrong, and we living in the gray. Anything goes in the gray area. You know what I'm saying? You can't tell me to stick by the black and white while you go by the gray. How that work?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's part of the contract issue. One side going by what's in gray, the other side trying to go by what's in black and white, and that ain't helping. You know what I'm saying? And to say it in general, you know what I'm saying, blatantly, the union attempting to go by black and white. The management is going by gray area.
They going by, they in the white. They don't even care. They ain't in the gray no more. They got in the white. They don't even write.
Whatever book they got, they ain't even no words on the page. You know what I'm saying? Whatever they going by. So, now here's further again. Not against management, not against the union. They both need work, a lot of work. Neither one of them work together, which is part of the problem, because they both supposed to work together for the betterment of the employees, which is us, right? So, but shout out to both sides, respect to both sides, been on both sides, take part in both sides. Me personally, and again, we have a lot of years and a lot of sides on this show, right? Myself, Carrier, been an acting supervisor, and technically been an acting manager, right? I've never had an acting manager title, but I've been in stations where I was the only person in management for weeks at a time. So I had to do everything the manager had to do because I'm the only person there. And I didn't know what nobody else was. You know what I'm saying? So Carrier, been acting supervisor, been acting manager. Coffee, Carrier, union steward experience, and the safety captain. Fee, Carrier, and union steward, right? Watkins, who you will see on some shows, she wants to take part from time to time. She welcomes. She also a Carrier and a steward, right? Our cousin Reese, truck driver, right? So we cover a lot of bases around here. You know what I'm saying? Only thing we missing is a clerk nigga, and it'd be like, you know what I'm saying? Like the 7 dwarves around here. We have the whole group. So you got management side and union side, along with craft employee side, all on one show, right? So again, the information is there. Get the information. You know what I'm saying? Be happy with the job you chose or the career you chose. You know what I'm saying? You shouldn't come into the post office and feel like, man, maybe I made the wrong choice or I should have to go somewhere else. The system's supposed to work for you. There's people that's taking advantage of the system, right? And they're taking advantage of you not utilizing the system. Utilize the system. We're here to help build the system. Stop living in the matrix, right? This is real world. Postal Blue Podcast. Come get the information. Come into the community. Build relationships. Build friendships in the community.
Yes.
Network.
Yes.
Network in the community. You know what I'm saying? We can say, oh, you got something going on? Okay, who next to branch 62? Hey, anybody in the community, if your branch is by branch 62, they got a rally going on, so-and-so, blah, Skippy, on this date. We need as many of us that could be there to be there. Whether you got to travel 30 minutes away, 20 minutes away, the closest, probably going to be there the most. Hey, we got to get there. There's a fight going on.
Yep.
Right? They need numbers. The strength is in numbers. We need to be taking up whole blocks here. Right? That's if you work. That's if you off. You know what I'm saying? I'm not telling nobody to take off work to go whatever the case is, but I'm saying if there's 10,000 people in any let's say state or district, any 10,000 people in the district or something, and then there's people that need help. Man, out of the 10,000, how many of y'all are going to be off on that Saturday or that Friday? Or you know what I'm saying? Cool. Maybe 900. Okay, cool. We need like 100 people there.
Take a lunch.
Maybe the 30 minutes of your day, an hour of your day, just to go show face. Especially if there's going to be cameras there, we got to go swarm now.
Hey, take a lunch.
We got to go swarm.
Everybody get a lunch. Take a lunch. If it starts at 11 o'clock, hey, I'm going to take my lunch at 11. Go there, right. Get a 3971 so you can have your documentation at 11 a.m. Taking. Go right there, stand right there. Hey, pay yourself to be off. Ask for extended lunch. Do what you got to do to show your support, especially when.
Typically, coffee. Just to add this, watch how crazy this sound. Typically, they do the rally outside of the headquarters.
Right.
How many people work in headquarters? Craft. They got 3 shifts in your headquarters because it's typically a distribution in there. Distribution and processing in there. You know what's crazy? When we had our rally, I didn't see nobody come out that building. I know it's got to be a couple hundred people in there, bro.
500 people in there.
I know it got to be some hundreds of people in there, bro. They got 3 shifts, man.
Come on. Look.
Didn't nobody come out, man.
Be on the right side.
I want to put that on paper. Milwaukee, Wisconsin, we dropped the ball at that rally.
We got to be better. If somebody's having a rally, and I'm just going to say it to you like this, any person in the post office community lose their life been threatened, they've been assaulted, and we're having a rally, just ask yourself, if that's your wife, your husband, your child, your mother, or your father, would you want that support? And if the answer is yes, then you should be there at every rally.
To add that support, going off coffee, you know what I'm saying? Before he go off, I just want to add this. Make sure we should be also telling our customers.
Yes.
All the carriers that plan on going to the rally, we need to be telling our customers on our routes. Customers can show up to the rally.
Yes.
Support your mailman. Support your clerk. Support your whoever it is that help you all the time.
You like Miss Deborah when you come buy stamps? Guess what? Miss Deborah needs you to come on down to the rally. You love your mail lady? You love your mailman? Well, I'm gonna need you to come show. How much do you love me? Because I love me. So come on down to the rally where I'm at. The little boy who love to see you coming, ask you, can you get the mail? Hey, let your mama know we having a rally for the mail carriers because, you know what I'm saying, we don't feel safe. I might not be here. I might can't be your mail carrier. It's getting crazy out here. You know the ones who get mad about their mail being late all the time. Oh, I got my mail at 5 o'clock. Well, that's because I'm running. I'm trying to get out here. Come support. Support is where change begins. You start supporting everything. Think about this, LA. If 500 people is outside in front of any business, what do you think the local news is gonna be at?
It's gonna look crazy too.
Man, you're gonna have everybody out there. Because guess what? They want to know what's going on. And the great thing about the news, they keep on digging long after everybody's gone. And that's what we want. We want people digging and prying into all the situations that are going on. That's where the change gonna come.
Watch this. I got something for you too on that. You ain't gonna like this. You gonna like it because I said it. And I stand on what I say. You gonna like it because I said it, Coach.
Okay, hit me with it.
But you gonna have a problem with it because you know it to be true.
Okay, hit me with it.
Going into last episode, how many people, when the cameras was out there for that rally, how many people went on camera and gave them statements?
No. If you're scared to speak up for yourself, I don't even know why you complain in private. My mama got a saying, if you ain't gonna say it to somebody's face, why say it at all? That's what a statement is. A statement is saying it to your face. Now, if you're scared, if you're scared, don't go to church. Because Jesus ain't never been scared.
I'm recording a podcast, lady.
So, I'm telling you guys, stop being scared. Write your statements. Support.
Send what?
Let us know what's going on in your local stations. Let us know what's going on in your local branch. Let us know what's going on. We want to be on the right side of history. We want to be a sounding board for everything that's going on in the postal community wide. We want to be everywhere. We want to be on the right side of history. When you see us, I would be rather better known for Postal Blue Podcast than for Ice Cold, which I would rather be known for all of it. But if that's my contribute, if that's what I give to the world, I'll be okay. Because this is how much it means. I breathe that I love my postal community. Because this is not only the way I eat, these people have welcomed me into their community and they have held the doors open. So they passed the baton to us. What are we going to do? How are we going to lead a post office for the next community? For the next group of people coming? This your boy Black Knight 24. That was my final thoughts.
Mike, you can still hear me, Coffee? Okay. Again, I am your boy LA Styles, aka Ice. also known as ICE, you know what I'm saying? Make sure y'all subscribe, man. Postal Blue Podcast, man. We come to y'all. We keeping it real. There's a huge problem that needs to be addressed. Again, these first few, maybe 4 to 6 podcasts, we setting the foundation, right? We stacking the foundation. First episode was the foundation. Now we building the walls to that foundation, right? In these File A Grievance, right to manage, failure to follow. That's the groundwork for the roof that we're gonna be building when we get to flying off the handle later on in about 6 weeks, when we just talking general topics like, Coffee, what you good this week? What happened this week? And we just get to tell you what happened. It's all on top of that house, right? We done built that for you, right? Those first about 6 podcasts, you can go there and get that information. It ain't just entertainment, you know what I'm saying? I believe everything that I'm saying. It ain't entertainment, you know what I'm saying? For better or for worse. It is what it is, you know what I'm saying? Again, it's both based on our personal experience. This is not us trying to put dirt on no one's name. This is not us trying to talk down per se on the company that we both work for. Right. This is for informational and educational purposes. This is us getting the word out on things that's wrong on either side, right? Because union, you're not off the hook. You got a show coming yourself.
Yes, you do. Yes.
You gonna have an individual show coming yourself, because ain't enough being done. Management gonna have a show, and then it's gonna be what it's gonna be. Well, management kind of getting part of these shows, but we just talking about the union in these shows, because again, it ain't just management side. We both, it's both sides still.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Correct. Hand to hand. Again, this is your boy Ice. That's your main man Coffee. This has been episode 3, File A Grievance, Postal Blue Podcast, man. What else can I say, man? Hit that subscribe button. Support the system. Support your community. Support your career. Support your job. Support your kids. Support your family. Support each other. We here.
Yes, sir.
And then, hey, we gonna continue to build, man. Make sure you all join the community. Again, that's where we gonna get the most conversations going. That's where you gonna get the most networking going. That's where you gonna build our future relationships going. Somebody in another town over in the same state as you could be going through the same problem. Y'all can have the biggest connection just having that conversation there. Just getting those text messages in. Just when we hit that spaces and start pulling people up, you're like, man, dude at the station right on. Man, I know that I came up at that station. You know what I'm saying? Hey, man, I know. And then next thing you know, boom, you got another contact or some information. I mean, I can give him this information. I can do whatever the case is. I can talk to my union steward and have him, you know what I'm saying, represent whatever the case is just because you got that information. You know what I'm saying? So we got to get here and build. Right? It's only episode 3 and we building. Right? Not just us, we building the community. This podcast is meant to bring the community together for voices, to give a voice to the Postal Blue community. Right? This is we gonna be the voice along with y'all being the co-voices. This is why we gonna be taking it to the Twitter Spaces where you can be heard, where we can get your gripes off, where you can get your information. This is what that's gonna be for. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that follow button. We on all streaming services: YouTube Music, YouTube in general, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Deezer, Pandora, whatever you name, Amazon Music. We gonna be over there.
YouTube.
Right? If we not there, then we gonna be coming there, but we should be there by now.
Yep.
Right? And get your voice heard. You know what I'm saying? Tell us how you feel. Every Monday, 9:00 Central Time, we gonna be there on whatever streaming service you listening to.
Yes, sir.
In the middle of the week, you gonna end up, that's why you gotta be part of the community. You gonna get that notification that we going live. We're gonna try to get a set date on like a Wednesday or Thursday. We're gonna give it a little while to build more of a community. So we get more people. So it makes sense, right? And we're gonna get a scheduled date, and you'll know when we're gonna be live, and you'll know when you can ask questions, and we have a set that time where everybody can come up or get they information in and be one over there. It's not gonna be like a party over there, you know what I'm saying? And we're gonna get this movement happening, and we're gonna get you that support that you need, or your branch need, or your union need, or you need to get your mental state right. Remember, going postal used to be a real thing.
Yes, sir.
People now, they just quit. But you shouldn't have to quit something that you think is your career just because somebody else is doing something wrong. No, we should be able to correct that. On either side, we should be able to correct that. You know what I'm saying? So with that, make sure you hit that subscribe button, man. Subscribing counts. Sharing is caring. In the most truest form, sharing is caring. Share this to your coworkers on the floor. Share this to other craft. Make sure you share it to your customers. To get that information, man, the post office needs as much help as it can get, and somebody got to be there at the forefront of it. So if we gonna have to be it as far as the community growing, then we gonna have to be it, man. We all we got, Nino Brown said. You know what I'm saying? New Jack City, we all we got. Am I my brother's keeper? You know what I'm saying? So with that, man, I'm gonna chop this up. Coffee gonna get up out of here. I'm gonna get up out of here, man, and I'm gonna get this uploaded so I can get on the video game. All right.
Subscribe to the podcast for all future episodes and make sure to share with someone. We appreciate everyone, and there's a lot more to come.